The girls at school, we didn't have the same rights as boys. Female support around you is something that makes you much stronger. Female-led startups, they have much less money and less funding, but networking alone will not solve the problem. I imagine that to creating women in tech is a global catalyst. I do use AI for everyday work because sometimes it helps. Sometimes I think, oh my God, is this like cheating? They will never replace the human. How are you going to manage your business and your child? Tomorrow we're going to be officially launching Women in Tech Kazakhstan. I found what my passion was, and for 10 years I've focused on that, growing my business. And having your dream is not enough.
Hello, dear friends. This is episode of podcast PRO ERTEN. My name is Dilnara Razmuhamedova, and I'm CEO of this media. And here we used to talk about technologies, IT, and startups. And I'm very pleased to introduce our guest, Аюми Мур Аоки. She is a social entrepreneur and visionary committed to driving positive and sustainable changes through technologies. Mm-hmm. And as I know, you are founder and CEO of Women in Tech Global.
Yes.
And this is a leading international organization supporting women and girls in science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And Women in Tech Global has over 200,000 members and aim to support 5 million women and girls in STEAM by 2030.
Yes.
Great goals.
It's a very big goal, but I'm very excited about it. I'm very passionate, and I'm very convinced that we are going to be reaching our goal.
Yeah, Аюми, so I read about your way, as a person, as a woman. Can you share maybe those 3-5 tips how you became such a woman and have such great worldwide mission?
Oh, wow. Where to start? So, in fact, diversity has been in me ever since I was born, because I'm half Brazilian, half Japanese, and I have a little bit of British as well in my blood. I was born in Brazil, but I was raised in South Africa during apartheid. It was a very difficult time because not only there was lots of difficulties for race, but also for gender. The girls at school, we didn't have the same rights as boys. So I remember my friends and I, we were the first ones to make the first girls rowing team at school. We had to fight for our rights, and we trained very hard. And at the end of the first season, we managed to win South African champions. And that triggered in me this passion against any form of oppression, I also triggered in me the love of sisterhood, because the girls on the boat with me, they were like my sisters. And we feel that having the support, this female support around you, is something that makes you much stronger. After that, I traveled the world a lot. I went to Tahiti. I think I've lived in over 10 countries already in my life. And so for me, diversity and inclusion is not just gender, it's not race, but also many cultures. Along my life, I went to the corporate world. I transitioned into tech because I wasn't finding personal and professional satisfaction in my corporate job. So I quit everything and I started learning how to code by myself. That was back in 2007, 2008. And for 10 years, I focused on growing my business. I had 2 companies. So I'm an entrepreneur on the digital marketing, digital communication. And we worked with clients from all over the world. And I remember I was pregnant of my 4th child. So I've got four children. Yes, I've got 4 children today. And the 4th one, the last one, was quite a difficult one. I had to stay in bed for a long time. And when I finally gave birth, I was exhausted, physically and mentally. And I really needed to find a place to recharge my batteries, whether it was, and for me, the perfect place was in Lisbon during a big web conference. And there I knew that there were not a lot of women in technology, because even for my companies to hire women, it was quite difficult. But I didn't know, this was in 2017, that the gender gap in tech was getting bigger and bigger. For me, things were bad, but they were getting better. And not that things were bad, but they were getting worse. The figures only 20% of female students or graduates are women, right, in the technology fields. If you go to look at the startups, female-led startups, they have much less money and less funding, between 2 to 3% depending on the country, and that's an average all around the world. Also, women and girls, they have less access to any kind of mobile or digital device. And also for the internet, they have 30% less access than men. So many different things put together said, what are we doing about it? And I looked around at initiatives. There were lots of networking, female-focused networking events, which are great, but networking alone will not solve the problem. And there were many or a few initiatives that were working on the ground, which were very performant, but they were isolated and not in a global. So I imagine that to creating women in tech as a global catalyst, where not only we would be a global community, a movement, but at the same time working close to the ground, impacting women closest to where they need, whether it's in education, in business, in digital inclusion and advocacy.
Yeah, and what about psychological approach? I think you faced with many women who are already CEO of their companies, like founders of startups. But here in Kazakhstan, for example, women split for two groups. First of them say that there is a gender approach. Others say, no, I feel comfortable, I make my job, and things like this. And how do you think this is psychological issue? Is it meta in the worldwide system?
I think around the world, there are many, and in all cultures, right? It's not just a specific culture. There's unconscious bias that exists, and some people are more aware of them than others, and people feel more comfortable than others as well. And it's a personal thing. I think that either way, when you're in the leader of a company or of any project, it's normal to feel uncomfortable, right? But you just have to, it's part of the job, whether it's about gender bias, whether it's about, getting finance, talking to people in difficult things. I think an entrepreneur's or in a leader's journey is never easy for many, many different ways. For both men and women, it's very difficult, right? So it depends on how you face these challenges, and the challenges are there every day. Once again, whether you're a leader or not, but specifically when you're a leader. So if you, I think it's more of a mindset to be able to embrace it and say, okay, it's tough, but we have to get over it and make it an ally almost. But I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it is difficult, but you just have to keep on positive so that it doesn't stop you, but you can use it and you are aware of it, but it will not stop you.
Okay, and coming back to IT specification, IT topic, your how to say, the division of women in tech is about STEAM, yes? Here in Kazakhstan, we already have school which include STEAM direction.
Very good.
To children, like girls and boys, doesn't matter. And why you choose the STEAM direction, and how do you think how it will maybe change our future?
Well, I think technology today is in everywhere, right? There's no single business or things today that technology doesn't really touch, whether even if it's in the arts, whether it's science. STEAM is because it's something bigger than just technology. Yes, there is a science inside, there's maths inside it, and even the arts inside, because the creative part is so important nowadays. Anything that's together with innovation. I think innovation, if you put it like on the top, whether it's going to be AI, technology, quantum, cybersecurity, all these things around digital are included. And women, they have to be part of this digital transition and revolution that's happening right now. Because if they're not, well, the best paid jobs are there. They have to be able to know how to use. They have to be there being coders today. AI is changing the world by surprise. And once again, 12% of researchers in AI are women, and only 6% of AI developers are women. So we have to be there, and not only being there coding, writing the lines, but also using. I just read yesterday there was this research done where women, not only they're not very present designing, but they're not very present. There's 30%, and they use AI 30% less than men. Because
why?
Yes, it's very good question, and I think they're looking for it. But some say, according to the article that I read, they said that they feel that they have to do it like the hard way, you know.
Okay,
it's almost as if they were cheating, you know. Like they like kind of use it a little bit, but say, oh, you know, if it's too easy, then you're gonna think I cheat, and they feel bad. They feel like it's not hard enough. And honestly, sometimes it happens to me. I do use AI for everyday work because sometimes it helps. Sometimes I think, oh my God, is this like cheating? You know?
Yes.
You still have this kind of thing like in your mind. And I have a friend who's launching her business, and she says, no, I don't want. I want to really do it by myself. I'm not going to use it. Says they have to help, right? We have to use these tools. They will never replace the human, I don't think. Because the creativity part, the sensibility, this is really what we have that's so precious it will never be taken. But you have to use it as an ally. We have not to be afraid. So if you manage it well, asking, seeing how it's done, and also being aware of the unconscious bias that are there, and fake news and everything that you can see, but use it where it can help you. Right?
Yeah.
And not replace you, but it's gonna help you achieve something quicker and faster.
Yeah. Did you make any analysis of critical thinking while using AI, and especially among women and girls who are not?
Well, I think critical thinking is one of those gifts that you can also, obviously, it's the most important today in our world, and one of those. I'd say career. I'm losing my words in English. That we all need and going to be the most treasured, right, by employers around the world. I think because technology is going so quickly, we need these minds, this critical thinking. That's going to be the things that employers, once again, are going to be looking for, because also gives you. This innovation, the resilience. You have to be able to think fast, change ideas, and you know how hard it is when you are an entrepreneur, right? Yeah. You have to be really, sometimes there's no plan A, plan B, plan C. We still already plan MK, P, and that's just part of it. And that's the part. It's fun as well, Sometimes when things are too easy, you think, oh my God, maybe I'm not trying hard enough. Maybe I'm not, reaching and dreaming high enough. So.
Okay. And what are those trends among women entrepreneurs in Europe, in France? Mm-hmm. Where are you from now?
Yes. Well, I think there are a lot of women entrepreneurs in Europe, not as much as in Africa. I think Africa around the world is where over 50% of the entrepreneurs, women are in Africa. However, very small businesses, right? Like very one or two people, those mostly in Africa, although they're bigger as well. The challenges we have in Europe and I think in all around the world as well, looking at the statistics, is getting funded, right? Women startups, women-led projects, they get much less funding. So those are the main critical things. I remember me when I started my company, to get funding, it was so hard. So I had to self-fund because I knocked on all the doors.
What are those reasons? Why? Investors don't believe to women's ideas, or they are not.
There are so many different things, right? So there are many, many different things. Well, for instance, I'll give you a good example. A friend of mine so she's British, she's based in the UAE. She tried, getting funds all over. She's a brilliant, brilliant mind. And she's got 4 children. And every time, and she made them very quickly, but she has a very good balanced life between, her family and her business. But every time she was pitching, she was pregnant. And the first question they would ask, they would say, how are you going to manage your business and your child? And that question, I have never, ever heard any investor ask a man. They don't even know. So, and that, when someone asked her that, she knew right away she was not going to get funding. So there's still a lot of these once again, unconscious bias about that the woman has to be the one who's going to be taking care of the children alone, and and if they don't not going to be working long hours, otherwise she's going to have to get, if she gets married, if she's at an age to get pregnant, then she's going to be as effective, or because so many different things. Even you see the questions that they ask, questions asked to a man, they're mostly about growth, and about, and how brave, and the vision, and the, how you see your company grow. Whether for women, they're mostly questions that are like protective questions, saying, okay, if you face this kind of incident, how would you do? What would you do? So they're more questions not on growth, but on how to handle, difficulties.
What we can do with this? Do you have any plan?
What can we do? So this is what we're working every day on doing, right?
Yes.
I don't have the magic wand, otherwise there would be no more problem
Yes.
around the world. But I think already, teaching girls from a young age that they can be anything they want to be. There are, once again, research has shown that until 12 years old, many girls, they dream of becoming astronauts, or becoming everything. As when they start teenagers, things start getting down. They said, okay, there's maybe 30 or 40% of girls that don't want anymore to go into these tech subjects. And then those who eventually do go, they're much less. And then those who come out, I know, for instance, in Europe, so there are only 20% of undergraduates from higher education universities that are from tech education. And then when they go to the workforce, there's 35% more women leaving the jobs than men. So there's a continuous, it's a leaky pipeline that starts all the way from school to high school to university and to the workforce, right? So we have to try and help women every time along the way, not only the women, but the men as well, the boys as well, so that they can know that, there's a girl, to support them, whether it's your sister, whether it's your classmate. We need mentors, we need funding, we need money, because that's how things are going to be changing. And also parents, for in underprivileged areas, I know in South Africa, in Burundi, in India, where we have chapters and we have local learning centers. So we're the first right on the front end, how for the big families, when there's only one device, the girl is going to be the last one to use it, right? First it's going to be the father, then it's going to be the son for the student, then it's going to be the mom. And if there are 3 or 4 children and they only have one device, the girl should not even going to touch it. So we have to be more conscious on investing in girls, investing in women, on the potential that there is. Everyone benefits from it.
Yeah, and again, it's connected with behavioral, psychological issues. Yeah, and as a worldwide organization, do you have any strategy how to change the situation in the world and in specific each country?
Yeah, so we work on the 4 main pillars. So the first is education, and we have programs to have role models for girls during high school. Also, research has shown, we have empirical data showing that adolescents, when they talk to role models during those 14 and 16 years old, there are more percentage of girls who have spoken to women in these fields. If they were inspired, they are most likely to choose that career choice.
Role model,
so the role models are important. Obviously, the importance of the teachers and the families there is also very, because they're the ones who guide. So we're trying to work with job forums, not only for the kids, but for the parents as well.
Yeah.
Because if the kids are all
Everything
excited, they go home and they say,
Yes.
yeah, I want to do this. I said, no, this is not for you. It's not going to work. So we try to bring the parents alongside with them, and also the teachers, because education sometimes in certain countries, or I think everywhere, it's quite a slow process until, all the syllabus are changed. And they have to also be aware of the new technologies that are happening. There's going to be changing the way we learn. and they are the first ones who are going to be teaching our children all along. So these three are seen. And then education all along in life. Even if you didn't choose tech when you are in high school, you can do it later in life. You can change and keep on learning anytime. Like I started learning tech, I was 30, So I think you can change, to have this mindset of being curious and learning new things anytime along your life and your career. That's for education. And then so we also work with scholarships, and then we also have in business we work with getting more women interns in the tech roles. Also we have a job board, a women in tech job board, where we put up jobs. The company is looking to hire more female talent. We also have mentoring, so that women can go up the ladder as well. We have a global mentoring program, and we've got so many things. We have also a leadership program to get more women on boards. And then in digital inclusion, we have programs, digital literacy programs. We have got learning centers in Brazil, in Africa. And then for entrepreneurs, we have a pitching competition, and we're making right now a crowdfunding platform to fund women because they need money.
Wow.
And in the advocacy side, we do awareness campaigns around the world, talking about the glass ceiling, talking about the need. And most importantly, we also talk to policy makers to change the policy, to make sure that the AI is more inclusive, that there's no bias, and that there are more women in the leadership roles.
Yeah, and talking about leadership program,
yes.
I think this is the reason why you came here in Kazakhstan. Tomorrow we're going to have huge event.
Yes.
And do you have any recommendations to our region, CIS countries, and especially Kazakhstan? I think I know that you have chapter here. Yeah, what you can recommend us, maybe also to become closer to this division of equal rights between women and men in IT?
So I'm very excited that tomorrow we're going to be officially launching Women in Tech Kazakhstan. We have our country director it's a SEM. So she's very well known, very well established women in IT here. And she knows, I think, very well the situation of what the country really needs. We are there to support. So I believe that we don't have to reinvent the wheel every time, right? We have done things whether it was in Georgia, in Azerbaijan, so in countries here in Uzbekistan, but also in Japan, Australia. Sometimes if you have a specific pain point, there is a specific program that we've already done that we have learned from. What worked, what didn't work, how to implement it here. And I think our superpower is that we are a global movement, and so that Kazakhstan, you're not going to feel that you're alone, right? You're going to be, if you have, for instance, coming into the mentoring program, perhaps the best person to mentor one of the people here is going to be someone from Peru or in Japan or in Canada. We don't know. So opening, you see how similar and how complementary everyone is. And so I think it gives you also it's more exciting. It opens the world to Kazakhstan, right? To the talent Kazakhstan have. For women to be able to work from a distance, but also to bring talent into the country, to bring investment into the country, opportunities as well.
And what about mentor program? Our women will have opportunity?
Of course, it's already there.
Okay,
it's already there. We're going to be talking more about tomorrow.
Mentors on international.
Yes, absolutely. Then we just have to see according to the language, and we've got, many mentors and mentees from many different languages and countries. It depends on what the person's going to be looking for, what her goals are, and we're going to be pairing with the best person. And one person can also be a mentor and a mentee at the same time. We can always keep on learning and can always give back.
Great, yeah. And you talked before about your private life, that you have 4 children.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's kind of you are the result of this life balance. Right, life balance.
Yes.
Yes, and also, what can you recommend to women who will watch this video, how to become such person who can connect all spheres of life and feel comfortable?
I think you have to find your passion, right? It's if you do something that you wake up in the morning and you like it, and you're really passionate about, it doesn't even feel like work anymore. So for me, that was that. What is it that really means to me? Something that would wake up in the morning, and even if no one paid me to do it, I would do it anyway because something's important. So first I found what my passion was. And for 10 years, I focused on that, growing my business and doing that. And then at a certain point, when I had my last kid, I said, well, you know, having your dream is not enough. Obviously, you have to have it first. You have to fulfill yourself. But then I started asking another question. It's not what is it that I want to do, what's my dream, but how do I want the world to be and what am I committed to doing about it? And so I think when you give back, you have this sense of I don't know, of empathy to the world, and there's so much. Well, for me, that's my passion today, and that's why I don't feel like it's work, although it is, and that makes me wake up in the morning every time, travel the world, meet wonderful people, know you're doing something good, and to be able to share this with my children. I think it's wonderful. I don't think you have to choose. I think you have to do it. It's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. It's very hard. It's hard because sometimes, you know, I don't have much family. And my husband, he was always traveling as well. So who's taking kids? Like we put, you know, to see each other. We put it on we've got a Google Calendar. We're all very excited. But it's just logistics. You know, if you want something bad, you just have to be organized. If you organize yourself, everything's possible. As long as you have the drive and you're passionate about it, the rest is logistics.
Yes, great, thank you. And as a person in IT, what kind of IT instruments you use to organize your life better?
Oh, very simple. So I'm just Google. I'm a Google girl. And then I really like to write as well. So I've just, as long as my calendar is organized, and now I have my EA who also takes in the meetings. The rest is just making sure that me or my husband or the neighbor, and also maybe creating a support system around you, right? Because we don't have family, so the support system, it's just me and my husband. Otherwise, we make our family has become our friends, and the kids' friends, right? Sometimes they go pajama party when both of us were not there. Go to the pajama party to the neighbor's house. Everyone's happy.
Plan B.
Plan B. And then if plan B, they cannot, okay, plan C. Well, someone is going to be coming. Otherwise, I often bring my kids traveling with me as well. In the beginning, it was really because, you know, we've got no choice. I have to bring them with. But I enjoy it so much. I really do. Yes. They're flexible and they learn, they travel. They see mom working, they see dad works, and, you know, it's just life. Yeah. We just do, and we don't feel guilty about it. You know, just, you know, they will be okay. If you're okay, they will be okay.
Yeah, great. Yeah, and we talk a little bit about AI, and what are your future predictions of AI maybe in 5 and in 10 years, if more people will not only use it, but work on it?
Oh, God, yes. So the predictions, maybe 10 years for me, I think it's a bit too much to predict because it goes so quickly already. But in 5 years, they say 90% of all content in the internet, even if not more, is going to be produced by AI, right? And so I think things are going to be going so much faster because we used to be taking so much time in doing things which were painstaking at the same time, which AI is going to be able to help. I think we are in a crucial stage where we have to think very carefully about how to use AI and about ethical AI and about who's building and how we're building it and how the laws are there to obviously to make sure that, you know, it's ethical and it's done in the right way, but not to hinder innovation because we want innovation to continue to grow. So it's a very like a thin thread that we have to be aware of. And right now I'm doing my research, I'm doing my doctoral research on it. And so hopefully in 2 years' time we'll be able to give you something with more empirical data because right now all I'm doing is just more on the feeling in predictions. But I like to have data behind me to support all the predictions.
Okay. And maybe some crazy ideas about like flying cars, people living around
it already
the world,
exists.
in universe.
Maybe not in the. I think we've got a beautiful Earth. Before we go out to live elsewhere, I do think we have to explore. Of course, I think it's beauty. It's exploring, and that's what it's magical about human beings, that we are so curious. But I love our Earth, our planet. We have to protect it first before trying to and live. Live elsewhere. Yes, for science, and once again for innovation, for discovery, but not because we have to, right?
Yes.
Not because we've got no choice than to leave.
And
That would be
STEAM for sure should help us to make our life better.
Yes, should help make our life better, but without destroying the planet.
Yes, thank you. And what, in the end of our conversation, what you can recommend to women who now starting to make their startup or just thinking about to go to learn IT?
I think if there's one thing I'd say is join Women in Tech. It's free, but the journey is, first is a difficult journey when you're an entrepreneur and not feeling alone. The percentage of women, of people dropping and stopping because it's so hard. When it's alone, it's so hard. I'm not saying it's going to be easier because you're part of a community, but yes, some people that are experiencing the same things that can help you in other ways. It makes things much easier. And you can also share good times. You can meet incredible people. You can learn. You can make networking, because whether you're starting a business, sometimes and many times, it's not what you know, it's but who you know. I think we don't give enough importance about building a network, a powerful network, but not just a network, real relationships, building relationships of people that you would like to have as friends, but also like to have as can be financial partners or working partners, and you never know how what that's going to lead to. So I say, travel, work on your network, work on your capabilities. Always be curious. There's always things to learn. So continue learning all throughout your life, and know that if you fail, and there's many things you'll fail, just carry on. If it's your passion, carry on. You will go far. It will be okay.
Okay, and I think also women should start to learn how to support each other.
Yes.
I don't know how it's in Europe and in other countries, but here in Kazakhstan, like men used to support each other more. And only now, in this era of entrepreneurship, I think women's just starting to support each other, understanding how it's important.
It is so important, yes. I think everything in life, it's about human relationships, really. And the more authentic they are, that's what takes you far. And that's also the beauty of life. Whether it's your family, the friends you make, the environment where you work, this is life. Life is this. This is not I'm going to have my life when I stop work. No, life is every day, the things you do in a routine. And the way, if you do it with the people that you enjoy, you're going to be attracting the people you want to work with. And then your life is just going to be fun and beautiful. And if you support, I believe in abundance of the universe, of energy, of love, of good things. So the more you send to people, the more you get it. And you just have to make sure you put all the toxic people away. There are some, and there will always be. But just protect yourself and make sure that, you don't send the same things back. You just send love and light, and everything will be fine.
Okay, so I think that's how we can make the summary of our conclusion. Thank you very much for
Pleasure.
your worldwide experience, for your mission. I think the huge mission which gonna change the lives of many, many people around the world. And we're happy to be here in Kazakhstan. So maybe your last words, what you can share with our...
What I can share, my first time in Kazakhstan, I've already been up to the mountains, 3,200. I see the snow. I think it's a beautiful city until now. Everyone has been very kind, and I'm very excited to see how this chapter is going to be growing, all the wonderful things you're going to be doing, how it's going to be impacting not only here, but the rest of the region and the world. And so thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you. Yeah, that was Аюми Мур Аоки. She's a CEO of Women in Tech Global. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.